And what do millennials say to that? Dude, I don't have any fucking money.
The people who lose are also the ones who are, their wages, their real wages are not really keeping up. And so who is that? And it's the ones who don't have any assets.
And so what does the insider group do? What do the regulators do in response to a system that cannot be regulated? They regulate the bits they can. They regulate the exchanges. They regulate the bank accounts. They regulate the national currency side of things. They shut down the on-ramps and off-ramps. They say, we will not let you take your money with you. And what do millennials say to that? Dude, I don't have any fucking money. All I have is my creative potential, my spirit, my productivity, and I can sell that directly for Bitcoin without an exchange, without an on-ramp, without an off-ramp. And when I need to buy something, I'll use my digital currency directly without re-entering your system to which I was never invited. Shut down the on-ramps, shut down the off-ramps, and I will stay on board. I will stay digital. I won't touch your gilded cage anymore because I don't need you. I exit.
So if you can pay for your food and energy and, your housing, okay, then you can survive and you can have a somewhat comfortable quality of life. However, when prices rise so much and you're at the low end of that earnings curve and all asset prices rise, well, that the multiplier effect on those larger things. So anything that's not a necessity ends up being out of your reach. So your quality of life is likely to diminish. So because you're not going to be able to keep up on that any of the larger purchases. You need a new washing machine. You want that new TV. Not that that's necessary, but maybe that would raise your quality of life, or maybe you want a better bed. That would raise your quality of life. But have you seen the prices of beds? So things like it. I just don't think they're keeping up in that sense. Number one. Number two, when you have these cycles, and this is the problem. This is what maddens me. Is that when you have the manipulation of money and you're going in these cycles, you continuously go in these, ebbs and flows of the economy. And then you get into one of these downturns. Well, who gets hurt? Who gets hurt the most in that downturn? Who loses their job, right? You're going to have a little bit of a barbell, but typically, you're having a swath of wage earners that are not critical to a company that get laid off. And so all those layoffs and that recession winds up just doling out economic pain across the board. The people who lose are also the ones who are, their wages, their real wages are not really keeping up. And so who is that? And it's the ones who don't have any assets and they don't have any debt. So they're not benefiting from those paying back cheaper dollars, but also they're being hurt by this hidden inflation that you cannot tell me that the price of goods and services over the last couple of years are only up 12% or something, not even. So the CPI numbers they're absolutely being manipulated for a good purpose. If you're at the Fed and the Treasury, so the issue is, are those metrics true? Are the low wage earners really keeping up? Are those real wages really keeping up with inflation? Because if you look at, if if you ask anybody at the lower end of that echelon, then you're likely to get the answer that is no. And the other thing is, how many jobs do they have to work to keep up with that inflation? Go back to what you were saying about the confidence in the dollar. So the issue is that, well, the Fed they're supposed to have they're supposed to make sure they oversee stable pricing, right? So they want to make sure that we have stable pricing in the system. What does that mean? That we don't have inflation that runs out of control or deflation that runs out of control. You want stable pricing. And they want full employment. That's supposedly their two mandates. In reality, why do they go to first principles? Why do we need stable prices? Because we need confidence in the dollar. Okay, now who are they answering to? Well, they're answering to the Treasury, because the Treasury needs a stable dollar. Why? Because they need confidence in dollar. Why? Because they need to keep borrowing. They need to keep issuing debt. They need to be sure that they have that avenue to facilitate all the spending that's going on in Washington.